All right, before we place these goalposts for the upcoming season, we got more breaking news. Adam Schefter with some details. Ben Johnson, 2 years remaining on his contract with Detroit. His deal was not adjusted to stay, proving that money was not Johnson's biggest motivation. The Lions could still opt to adjust the contract down the line, but it is not the reason he returned to Detroit. Johnson is loyal. End tweet. I mean, clearly it wasn't about money. A head coaching job pays more than a coordinator job at every team.
Yeah, I don't think it was about money, but I do think that Ford family history says they reward loyalty. So Sheila will take care of him somehow, some way.
Wasn't he taken care of a year ago?
And they probably will give him a little something extra.
Yeah. But he's staying. If you guys heard it in the update, if you've been listening all day, I mean, the news broke right about 1 o'clock. Ben Johnson is staying to be the Lions offensive coordinator. And Rico, I think that helps us have this conversation. Expectation setting. Mm-hmm. Alex Anzalone said that this is Super Bowl or bust. Ben Johnson returning only solidifies that the goalpost for next season should be set in New Orleans for the Super Bowl.
Is that where it's at next year?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, I've already looked.
Bourbon Street.
That's right.
So what I would say is this. Last year, we set the expectations for this team. And I'll give Mike full credit. He was like, you're going to win the division. You're going to get a home playoff game. Mm-hmm. He did this early. And I was like, bruh, just be happy to make the playoffs. But you set the goal. And then when he tried to change it, I was like, no. You can't change the goal. Okay? Now, they exceeded it, and you can expect more. But we set that goal. So right here, right now, where is the goalpost going to be set? Is it just win the division again and make the playoffs and get a home playoff game?
No.
Because for me, my goal for the Lions, the division is nice, but I know it's all about getting hot in the playoffs, okay? Your goalpost next year is next year's NFC Championship game.
They were already there.
You didn't win it. That's your goal.
Well, the goal would be to win it then and go to the Super Bowl, right? Not just to get to the same place.
No, to get back. To get back because it's a difficult thing to do.
What that doesn't make a hill of beans different. I've already seen them play in an NFC title and lose it.
Now go back and win it.
Yeah, win it. Be in the Super Bowl.
But because here's the thing. It's hard getting to the Super Bowl.
I didn't say it was going to be easy.
That's the Buffalo Bills. Because here's the thing. If you set your goal, hey, it's Super Bowl or bust, more than likely it's going to be bust a lot of time.
Correct. There's nothing wrong with lofty goals. This team's earned lofty goals.
I'm looking at the steps, and it's a process. And the process to me is, okay, get back there, do better, and now you can exceed expectations again.
They're right there. They were 30 minutes away. Next season, you have to go further. You have to get closer. You only get so many cracks at the Super Bowl. I know you say the window's just opening, and I see that. But it's not a 10-year window. This is not for long. The NFL, it's a little shorter than people give it credit for. It's a couple years, and you're going to have to churn the roster. You got a couple years, your coordinator's back. Next year, go win the Super Bowl, or it's a disappointment. This team has set us up to have that expectation because they're that good. Because they should be every bit as good as they were this year and better. They've got cap space, and it's not going to go to Goff immediately. His extension wouldn't kick in for another year. St. Brown wouldn't kick in for another year. Go get one or two studs.
The reason why I said
get closer than you got this year.
The reason, and 248-539-9797, where's your goalpost going to be at for next season? Reason why I say that, because it's difficult. Look at the Eagles. Eagles made the Super Bowl, couldn't get out the first round of the playoffs. To win one or two playoff games, as you saw here, it's not an easy thing to do.
Correct.
So therefore, if you could get back to the champion, now you're in the Final Four, anything can happen. And we saw anything happen. We saw weird stuff happening.
Yeah, but okay.
But get back there.
But your school, I'll bring this to your doorstep. Michigan State, getting to the Final Four is no longer the goal. You got to win the thing, right?
No.
Getting there is not enough. You can hang as many Final Four banners as you want, but at some point you say, got to get the whole thing.
It would be nice, but I think that's different because college basketball is the only sport that celebrates the Final Four.
Yes.
It's not the road to the national title. It's the road to the Final Four.
But when you said Final Four, it made me think your program, college hoops, and the benchmark has been all these Final Fours, and eventually you say, not good enough.
But when I look at this, I know, it's difficult to get there. To me, that's a realistic goal. Now, a lofty goal. Yeah, you want every team goes in saying, I want to win the title.
But it's not realistic for every team. It is here in Detroit.
I would say get back to the NFC title. You make that game, and now you make your own luck. You do what you need to do to get that next level. It was like winning the division and getting into the playoffs. That was the goal at the beginning of the year. Get into the playoffs, and now you create your own luck. You do what you need to do, but you need to have a seat at that table. And I'm saying get back to that NFC championship table. That should be the goal. Now, once you exceed that, now we add on and say, okay, now it's Super Bowl. For Kansas City, yes, their seasons are Super Bowl or bust because they've been there before. You haven't.
248-539-9797. Alex Anzalone says Super Bowl or bust. He actually said this year was Super Bowl or bust, too. Do we have the clip of Anzalone? Here you go. Here's your linebacker. Super Bowl or bust going forward. You get a taste, right? You're 30 minutes away. You get to the half. And I know Lions history maybe should have prepared me for a letdown, but I went into that.
No. But the history
I suspended all disbelief, and I thought this is happening to my football team, only to have it crash down in the most disappointing way. The only thing that satisfies now that you had a taste is to go to the Super Bowl.
Right, but see, the history thing, that's the argument I've been having with Rico for the last couple of days. It wasn't history, it was inexperience.
Correct.
Is what you saw in that game. One team had been there and they knew how to handle it. The other team didn't know how to close the game out. That's why I'm saying your goal is to get back there. And really, if you want the real goal, your goal, number one seed, and you play that game here.
We did get a ticket text that said that very same thing. The goal is to host next year's NFC title game.
Yeah, so maybe the goal is to get the number one seed, because just to say, I got to go Super Bowl or bust, it sounds great on radio. It's a difficult thing to do.
Rico, if they're hosting the NFC title game, they sure as you know what better be playing for the Super Bowl. If that game's at Ford
Baltimore
Field,
how that worked out.
I'm not telling you it's a promise. I'm telling you if you get it, you should win. Baltimore should have won that game. There's no excuses for that. You set the goalpost. We do the whole measure twice, cut once. You guys have talked about moving of goalposts as they started to win more. They got as close as they've ever been in the entirety of the Super Bowl era.
They exceeded where the goalposts were originally at.
Correct.
And that's why I'm saying, like, for me, next year, you want to either be a one seed or you want to get to the NFC title game. That is the new goalpost. That's the expectation I will have for this Detroit Lions team next season.
Jeremy, you're on 97.1.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, Jeremy.
I just want to say, Josh Reynolds really killed me. Ben Johnson coming back is really a good boost. But, I mean, was there anything more devastating than Josh Reynolds dropping two balls right in his face? Or one was on his chest and one was on his face. But, like, was there anything wrong? Killed me.
Jeremy, the first one, the 4th and 2 that he doesn't get, you go, ooh. But that in and of itself, that's frustrating, but you still at the time had a 2-touchdown lead. When he dropped the second one on the 3rd down and he's running before he catches the ball, I'm like, oh my God, is this Pop Warner? Catch the ball.
You know what? I think what happened at that point.
He is so dependable, and Rico, everything you're saying is correct. It's like I saw Josh Reynolds. I'm like, oh my gosh, my whole soul just went out of my body when that happened.
And Jeremy, I think what happened, and I can't speak for him, but he knew he dropped that 4th and 2, and I think he started thinking too much. And with athletes, when you start thinking is when you screw things up. It's like the jump shooter. When you hesitate, you miss the shot. You catch it in rhythm, it's Splash Brothers. And for receivers, when you start like, okay, I got to catch this ball, I got to do this, and you see it all the time. Heck, you saw it in the national title game. The most sure-handed guy Michigan put back there for catching punts, and fumbled on the one. Now, it worked out, But they put him back there because he doesn't do that, but he overthink it.
Well, it shows you how fragile sports are. All year, Reynolds wasn't a high yardage producer, but he was so dependable.
He moved the chains.
Most of his catches were first downs or touchdowns, including in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But on that day, he was a liability. They couldn't rely on him in two pivotal crunch time spots.
He became his own worst enemy. His skills didn't fall away, people. The moment, I hate to say it, the moment got too big for him. And then he just started overthinking and overplaying, and he stopped being that person that got him there. But the goalpost, I still say, either you're the number one seed or you are in the NFC title game again. That's the goalpost. And it's not to say, please don't call here. Your team could go to the Super Bowl, but I'm saying your goalpost, the reasonable goalpost, is to make it back. Because getting to the Super Bowl, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs, very difficult to do.
And listen, you can say I'm being emotional, I'm overreacting. They were 30 minutes away. They're bringing back the same nucleus. They'll have the ability to upgrade this roster. If they do not get to the Super Bowl, if they're not playing in New Orleans next season, it's a disappointment. And if you're upset about that, guys, it's a badge of honor. You have upgraded this organization to that level of expectation, where anything less, to me, is a disappointment. Now, we want to know where you're at on this. 248-539-9797. Ben Johnson's back. Expectations are back. It's 97.1.